The NFL is all about finding playmakers that can create mismatches, and Kenyon Sadiq is a matchup nightmare. Built like a Y, but testing like an X, he possesses both the athleticism and skill to torch defenses all across the formation. Vandalizing man coverage and tormenting tacklers with the ball in his hand, Kenyon Sadiq looks to be the ultimate move piece in a league ever trending towards positionless players. Standing at 6'3", 240, one of the first things that stands out on tape is just how effortless a mover Sadiq is. Gliding across the turf with silky sharp cuts to match, Kenyon can run routes like a prototypical receiver, while physically outmatching even the biggest coverage defenders. He starts as the inside man on the bunch here, but the Ducks motion him out to become an X-receiver, having him run the dig and the dagger concept. Quick out the blocks and savvy to dodge the punch from the flat defender, Kenyon climbs the stem fast to push the safety back, at the same time reading the coverage. It's a sharp cut at the top of the route, but understanding he's facing a Tampa 2, he knows how to stall in the space and not run himself into the coverage. It's good timing for Moore, and Sadiq can turn upfield for extra yards. Playing from the slot this time, more good route running sets his man up for the touchdown. Running the crosser, he knows he's got to win inside, so stems at the DB's inside shoulder, initiating contact and then bouncing himself clean on the cut. The DB can't stick with the explosion, and Sadiq hauls in the looping ball for the score. His deceleration work is good too. Working from the inner slot here, he's quick to spot the quarters coverage and throttle down immediately to make himself available. The safety closes quickly, but Sadiq gives him a little shimmy, leaving him in the dust as he converts the long downs. With defenders keying on the many curls Oregon asked him to run, he could fake them out and blow the coverage wide open with a double move. Northwestern shifts to man coverage right before the snap, and this plays into Sadiq's hands beautifully, closing the space to the safety fast, decelling and dropping his hips to make him bite before exploding up the seam. Moore is quick to spot it, and Kenyon collects it for 6. And he might not get the ball here, but this is a filthy stick nod to lose his man. Kenyon gets up onto the safety's toes, squares him up, nods left, then breaks to the post, leaving him running free for the score. But pressure's in on Moore, and he's forced to the shorter option. Kenyon matches this route running with an elite catch radius, able to contort and twist his large frame to snag some difficult balls. Motioning from H-back to the slot, Sadiq is going to attack the seam with speed. More good work to dodge the punch, and he's flying upfield to split the safeties and leave the linebacker trailing. Moore puts this out in front, almost too far for his man, but Sadiq goes full stretch, securing it as he falls into the end zone. And here's even greater extension for a touchdown grab. Again, lined up at H-back, he's got 2 post routes ahead of him, clearing out space for the wheel route. The concept gets him wide open, but again, the ball's long, forcing Kenyon into full extension to bring this in, bouncing his way in for the score. Great catch radius doesn't just mean elevating. Sometimes you gotta go low to scoop it in. Tasked with running the middle curl on the long third down, Sadiq does a good job to engage and push his defender past the sticks, then shield him away to create space for the catch. Moore puts this low and away under pressure, and Kenyon needs only one arm to haul it in, scooping it off the turf to move the chains. And this elite radius makes him an excellent red zone target. Motioning from fullback, Sadiq's task is to beat his man to the back pylon, and this he does expertly, closing the space, then exploding to the corner, avoiding the punch. Moore puts it up high, and 18 gets up to meet it, coming down to earth with another score. This video is sponsored by PrizePicks. America's #1 sports picks app is super easy to use. All you have to do is pick more or less on a few player stats, and your lineup is set, ready to win cash prizes. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and I'm picking Jokic and Aaron Gordon to have big games against the Timberwolves and take the lead in the series. PrizePicks is also available in over 35 states, including California, Texas, and Florida. Best of all, PrizePicks will give you $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. Win or lose, you'll get $50 in lineups just for playing. So download the app and use our promo code HMA to get $50 in lineups now. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. We've covered routes and catch radius, but this still doesn't do Kenyon's movement skills justice. He jumps out the gym and off the tape, schooling DBs with his strength and ball carrying abilities. Here, he's lined up as the X, running a quick hitch in the RPO. Making the most of the cushion, he takes 5 yards from the DB quickly, and Moore puts it between the numbers for the quick yards. But 18 ain't finished, throwing away the corner's tackle attempt like an empty candy wrapper, and then turning on the Jets to make this 6. Beast. This strength at the catch point makes him a lethal third down target. It's just a quick slant here on short third, and Moore is fast to get it to his playmaker. However, the Mike reads it and gets into perfect form to go right through his legs and keep him short. But Kenyon simply eats the hit, keeping his balance and making sure he's got that first. Oregon found numerous ways to try to get the ball in his hands, and while they weren't all successful, they show you the movement skills this man possesses and why coaches just want to get him the rock. And we can't ignore his signature move, the hurdle, because if a DB or even a linebacker hesitates when breaking down, he'll take the vertical option and put you on a poster. This exceptional athleticism makes him the perfect candidate to be a move piece, and Oregon got their NIL money out of him, lining him up all across the formation. Starting in that H-back position, Kenyon motions to the slot and attacks up the seam. Spotting the quarters coverage, he bends middle to find the space, and Moore puts it up high to where only his man can get it. But that doesn't mean this catch is a formality, as both safeties close to take a shot with his ribs exposed, but Sadiq holds on like nothing happened to bring in 6 more. This time, he'll start out as the X receiver, but will motion into the bunch to attack the same area of the field. This time, he's facing the zone, and it's an efficient break to snap to the space, then throttle down to find the gap and create an easy completion. And this time, he'll start in the bunch, but motion across the formation to become the new X receiver, with the ball snapped while he's in motion to gain him momentum for that out route. This motion out is usually reserved for top-end receivers, and he creates a clear window for Moore. But he's not looking this way, finding a receiver on the other side of the formation. And just because he's moved all around the formation doesn't mean he can't line up in line and maul like a true tight end. And this brings us to his blocking, and a really interesting conversation we have to have. There's no doubt that he's a highly aggressive and motivated blocker, with real power behind the push. However, his technique leaves a lot to be desired, and there's far too many plays where he's head over his toes and completely off balance. Let's start with the good, and a great lead block on the reverse. Sadiq spins to sell the fake to the running back and then works out to the flat, fitting his man perfectly and showing high effort to maintain the block. He does a great job to keep his hands inside despite the corner fighting hard, blocking him a full 15 yards downfield and ending with a pancake. Against USC this time, Sadiq is a puller as part of the Ducks' super counter concept. The guard pins out, allowing Sadiq to pull through the gap and lead the way. And it's a nice fit, dropping the pads and hitting the backer with a pop, opening a lane for his back to knife through. He's held up at the 1, but the Ducks flock to the ball and shove him over for a score. It's not all on the pull. He can line up in line and turn a man out the gap. Here against Oregon State, he gets under the pads of the edge defender and drives him back, staying on the block for the duration of the play and creating an alley for his back to find. This time, they go back to a true counter concept. Sadiq's block won't help spring the play, but it's a textbook fit, getting the corner in his clutches and driving him into the sideline and down into the dirt. And on the goal line, it's his block that seals them a touchdown. From fullback this time, Sadiq works across the formation and pins down the linebacker, taking him into the safety and opening a wide open edge for the score. So there's enough evidence that Sadiq is a good blocker, with no questions about strength or effort. However, the technique leaves a lot to be desired. He has a real tendency to lean into his block and end up with his head in front of his toes, resulting in him falling on his ass. This caused a lot of whiffs where Kenyon is simply not looking at the block, head down like he's trying to inspect the grass and give himself a neck injury. NFL defenders will simply laugh at this technique and sidestep him for the tackle. Pulling as part of the counter concept, it's Sadiq's job to lead the way. It's good work to get to the block, but look at the form when he engages, head in front of his toes and actively down looking at the floor. Without good vision or a solid power base to push from, the backer simply dismisses him and tackles the runner instead. This time, and he's going to work across the formation to try to take the end out. It's good technique to spot the blitzing backer and play him first. But look at the tangled mess of a position he ends up in. And this is a block he also struggles with. He's got to get a gap over and turn the end out with the angle, but gets beaten for pace and then blown through, allowing the end to make this a tackle for loss. It's not an easy block for a tight end, but it's one of many NFL offenses will ask you to make. While we're talking about problems, another spotted on tape is a case of the concentration drops. Sadiq's hands are far too good to be worried about his actual skill level, with impressive catches at full extension regularly displayed. But it didn't stop him from occasionally turning upfield too early without the ball. NFL teams won't stand for these lapses in concentration, and he'll need to clean that up ASAP. Versatile, explosive, and physical, Kenyon Sadiq looks like the next big chess piece to enter the NFL. Able to line up across the formation, he provides a matchup nightmare wherever he's aligned. There's some technique to clean up in the blocking and drops department if he wants to see the field full time, but there's no doubt about the high level of skill he possesses. With the draft that's light in top end talent, expect to hear his name called real early Thursday night.